It feels like Izzet is everywhere these days, doesn't it? From standard to legacy to modern to even pauper, blue and red decks of all flavors and sizes are practically unavoidable in 60-card constructed. Few things in Magic elicit a groan quite like seeing your opponent play out a turn 1 Spire Bluff Canal. It's gotten to the point that many Magic the Gathering players feel like the game they're actually playing is Izzet the Gathering. At Pro Tour Secrets of Strixhaven in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago, the Izzet color pair dominated the overall meta share. 3 of the 4 most played decks were Izzet. Izzet Prowess at 30% of the meta, Izzet Spelementals at 8%, and Izzet Lessons at 7.4%. A little further down the list, we had Jeskai Control at 3.7%, and the new Izzet Maestro combo deck at an additional 2.8%. In other words, more than half of all deck lists registered for the most recent Pro Tour, the highest level of competitive Magic the Gathering, included 4 copies of the notorious Shockland Steam Vents. And this is not even the first time this has happened on Magic's biggest stage over the past year. From Izzet Prowess to Izzet Spelementals to Izzet Lessons to Izzet Cauldron to Izzet Prowess yet again, putting blue and red cards in your deck has been one of the most reliable ways to win games in Standard for going on 12 months now. Why is this happening? Is the color pair fundamentally broken? Is the ubiquity of blue and red a new phenomenon? Or is the dominance of Izzet a perennial problem? Well, many Magic the Gathering players don't realize that the way these two colors combine make them some of, if not the, most powerful pair of colors in all of Magic the Gathering. So today we'll be discussing not only is it too powerful and is it broken, but most of all, is it ever going to change? But first, do you know another thing that many Magic the Gathering players are tired of? Being tired all the time. Be honest with me. Do you wake up feeling like crap? Do you wake up a few hours before your alarm and you're exhausted and you can't get back to sleep? Do you have trouble falling asleep? It feels terrible. And while everybody is different and every body is different, there's one thing that helps just about all of us, and that's having a real quality mattress, a great quality mattress to go to sleep on. Seriously, that's what we're selling here today in the ad. It's the ad, and we're selling a good night's sleep by way of an excellent mattress, Helix. Did you know that Helix was recently a USA Today's Most Trusted Brand winner for 2026? Well, that's no surprise to me. I've been sleeping on a Helix for years now, and I could have told USA Today how amazing my Helix Midnight Lux was years ago. Oh snap, that Helix Midnight Lux has actually been ranked as the best overall mattress, according to both Forbes and Wired. Well, I guess everybody's realizing what a great night's sleep a Helix mattress provides. Sick of dealing with mattress salesmen that act like they're car salesmen? Well, Helix has you covered there too, because you order your Helix online and it's delivered right to your door with free shipping in the US. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is very easy to set up. Don't like it? Don't worry. That's because Helix offers a 120-night sleep trial to test the mattress out and ensure that you love it. Helix also offers their new Comfort Adjust cooling pillow. Yeah, we're selling pillows too today, which, oh my god, it's so cool and comfy. Okay, but this isn't just a pillow, because you can customize Helix's cooling pillow to have your preferred firmness and height, all while staying cool at night with this Glaciotex heat-conductive fabric. This thing feels amazing. Just click the QR code or go to helixsleep.com/Tolarian to take advantage of their Memorial Day sale exclusive partner offer and get 27% off. Wow, site-wide. Thank you, Helix, for sponsoring this video and ensuring that all of us have a better night's sleep. To understand what led to the dominance of Izzet decks today, we have to journey back to the very beginning of Magic's history. Even from the very first set, the design space that blue and red each occupy have fit together like the coastlines of Africa and South America. There were 9 dual lands in the original Alpha set: Tundra, Badlands, Tropical Island, Plateau, Bayou, Taiga, Savanna, Scrubland, and Underground Sea. These powerful mana fixers corresponded to 9 of the 10 color pairs in Magic the Gathering. leaving one color pair out. The blue and red dual land Volcanic Island didn't enter Magic the Gathering until the follow-up set, Beta. The dual lands were added to Alpha last minute when Wizards of the Coast realized they didn't have enough cards to fill out the rare sheet. That's true, by the way. We have dual lands simply because they needed more cards. They commissioned art for the 10 duels, but only got 9 back in time for Alpha's print deadline. Thus, Volcanic Island was left out of the original print run of Magic the Gathering. And you might say, Izzet took this personally. Izzet is what's known as an enemy color pair, a combination of two colors on opposite ends of the color wheel. In the early days of Magic card design, enemy colors were thought to have less in common with one another than their ally counterparts. It was therefore much more common to see ally-colored gold cards than enemy ones. Prior to Ravnica, the first block to establish all 10 color pairs on equal design footing, ally color pairs had about 4 times as many gold cards as enemy color pairs did. Even relative to the other enemy color pairs, blue and red share remarkably little in common. According to Mark Rosewater in his 2012 article, Designing for Izzet, blue and red is the only color pair to not share a single low-rarity evergreen keyword. Thematically, the two colors are polar opposites. Blue is known for rational thought and intellect, while red is known for irrational emotion and passion. Red acts quickly, on impulse, and seeks conflict. Blue acts slowly, based on logic, and avoids conflict. Red is active, while blue is reactive. But while this fundamental thematic dissonance makes designing Izzet cards difficult for game designers, from a tactical standpoint, the mechanical strength of each color actually shores up the other's weaknesses exceptionally well. If red is great early and blue is great late, then blue and red can leverage its red half in the early game and its blue half in the late. Red removal is premier interaction when there are only small creatures in play, but scales poorly once creatures get larger. It's also easy to run out of cards if all you're doing is trading 1-for-1 with your opponent's threats. Sure, a handful of lightning bolts will answer any early threat your opponent tries to deploy, but then you're gonna run out of gas and need to rely on the top of your deck to help you pull back ahead. On the flip side, blue interaction is much better suited for the late game than the early game. Counter magic is extremely powerful, but often mana inefficient. It's not difficult for an aggressive deck to get under your counterspell by casting cheap creatures early, or double spelling to force a threat through counter magic in the mid-game. Bounce spells, too, are much better on large creatures than small ones, and it's much more costly to replay a big creature that gets unsummoned than it is a small one. What's more, for all that blue card draw is a powerful way to pull ahead on resources. It doesn't affect the board. Aggro decks are great at killing an opponent whose hand is stockpiled with cards they never had time to cast. To understand this concept, look at the original Boon cycle from Alpha. These are the 5 1-mana monocolor instants that offer their caster a beneficial effect, using the number 3. Healing Salve gains 3 life or prevents 3 damage. Ancestral Recall draws 3 cards. Dark Ritual adds 3 mana. Lightning Bolt deals 3 damage to any target. And Giant Growth temporarily buffs a creature by 3 power and toughness. This cycle provides an effective, if somewhat crude, description of what each color does best. Yes, some boons are so much stronger or weaker than the others that lumping them together in the same category is a little silly, but the different design spaces they occupy still provide valuable insight into the philosophy of each color. White gains life, blue draws cards, black mortgages long-term resources for short-term gain. Red deals damage, and green makes creatures big. So putting aside the relative strength of each boon, ask yourself, from a conceptual standpoint, which 2 boons work best together? The answer is blue and red. Drawing 3 cards is powerful in and of itself, as card advantage is one of the most foundational elements of Magic strategy. But those cards are only useful if you can survive long enough to play them, hence the need to pair Ancestral Recall with an efficient removal spell to buy you time. In a sense, red and blue don't need some grand mechanical synergy tying the 2 colors together in in order to work well together. Just by the very nature of each color's identity, the two complement each other's strengths and shore up each other's weaknesses. This isn't to say there is zero mechanical overlap, however. In that 2012 Designing for Izzet article, Mark Rosewater described the similarities between blue and red by laying out the 5 colors in order of the most creatures to least creatures. That order was white, green, black, red, and finally blue. If you wished instead to look at the colors with the most instants and sorceries, all you'd need to do is flip that list on its head. The natural overlap in design space for blue and red, therefore, is in spells. Blue and red are individually the spell colors. What do you get when you combine 2 colors with the highest density of the same card types and a complementary set of strengths and weaknesses? Answer: a highly potent color pair that requires very little direct design support to mesh well together. There is, however, one glaring weakness to both blue and red that can't be solved organically by simply combining the 2. This weakness is directly related to the color's lack of creature density. Not only did the 2 colors have few creatures, but those creatures they did not have nearly the same natural synergy as the spells did. Red creatures are low to the ground and quick, trying to end the game as quickly as possible. This is antithetical to blue card draw, which plays toward late game inevitability. Blue creatures, on the other hand, were slow and often expensive. It was hard to find a window to deploy them, and red removal wasn't sufficient to catch back up on board after letting your guard down. This means that for all that blue and red are great at not losing the game, the color pair is not particularly good at winning the game. This was a problem, especially considering red removal has an expiration date. Some threats are too big for damage-based removal to answer them. You can draw all the cards you want, counter all the spells you want, bolt all the creatures that you want, but eventually you're gonna have to reduce your opponent's life total to 0. Otherwise, you're just gonna deck out, or more than likely, your opponent will force a threat or 2 through your interaction that will eventually kill you. Essentially, red and blue have this ripe and sweet tactical fruit hanging on a vine, but with no one around to eat it. So how did Izzet decks of the past address this problem? The history of competitive Izzet is really the history of Magic players finding innovative ways to win before the complementary boons of blue and red inevitably expire. And for several years, they accomplished this with only the bare minimum of direct design attention paid to the blue-red color pair. Just 11 blue, red, gold cards predate the original Ravnica block, very few of which are still recognizable to the average Magic player today. Blue-red also had almost nothing in the way of mana fixing. In fact, until the release of enemy color pain lands in 2001, all blue-red standard decks had in the way of mana fixing were high downside rainbow lands, like City of Brass or Undiscovered Paradise. Compared to mana bases today, blue-red mana and the mana for the other 4 enemy color pairs resembled a Prismari student's failed arts and crafts experiment, held together by toothpicks and Elmer's glue. And yet, despite blue-red's mediocre fixing and meager selection of gold cards, the color pair still put up some of the most prolific results of any color pair in Magic across the first 10 years of the game's history, certainly by comparison to most other enemy color pairs. The first such result came on the back of one of the first 2 blue-red gold cards ever printed, Frenetic Ifrit, a 2/1 flyer that could sometimes phase out in response to removal. In 1997, a year after Frenetic Ifrit was printed, the blue-red color pair put 2 players into the top 4 of the Magic World Championship. Paul McCabe in his blue-red aggro control deck, and Janosch Kuhn, who splashed white in his base blue-red speed control deck. Both decks ran multiple copies of Frenetic Ifrit. In the late 90s, Frenetic Ifrit and similar standalone threats were sufficient for crossing the finish line before the blue-red interaction suite expired. But as Magic's card pool deepened and the threats got better and better, Frenetic Ifrit and its ilk no longer cut it. Then, in 2001, Apocalypse released. This was the first set to explicitly center enemy color pairs in its design. The set gave Magic 7 new blue-red gold cards, more than doubling the total number in the game. It also provided the color pair with Shivan Reef, the best mana fixer blue-red had ever seen since Volcanic Island. Over the following year, 2 more Izzet decks broke into the metagame. Counterburn in 2002 was a creatureless blue-red control deck consisting entirely of interaction and card draw. Its only win condition was pointing burn spells at its opponent's face. The deck worked in part because it totally blanked opponents' removal, but as clever as this game plan was for the time, soon it too was too slow to keep up with the metagame. Relying on a 12-mana Urza's Rage to close out a game is, unsurprisingly, not a recipe for long-term success. This era also introduced blue-red tricks, which won Pro Tour New Orleans in 2001 in the hands of the legendary Kai Buddha. Also a creatureless deck, the only way blue-red tricks could win the game was by donating an Illusions of Grandeur to the opponent. You then either capsize it off the field, or simply wait until your opponent can't pay for the illusion's cumulative upkeep anymore, causing your opponent to lose 20 life. Blue-Red Tricks was the first Izzet deck to incorporate a combo finish, an element that would go on to become a staple of the color pair in the decades that followed. Combo kills were the perfect answer to the how to win the game problem that Izzet faced. You could play all this hyper-efficient card draw and interaction without concern over how you would turn the corner. If you look further at the Izzet decks that saw success in the first 20 years of Magic history, the most powerful by far were those that won by sidestepping traditional win conditions in favor of some combo. The most famous example is Izzet Splinter Twin, a combo control deck that defined the early days of the modern format. Efficient interaction like Lightning Bolt and Remand bought time until you could assemble the combination of Splinter Twin and either Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch, and then make infinite attackers. Because the creature side of the combo had flash, this deck was capable of ending the game out of nowhere. Flash in your Pestermite on end step, tap down an opponent's land, then untap and slam your Splinter Twin. But while a combo finish certainly solves Izzet's principal problem, many formats' card pools don't provide access to such a combo, at least not in blue and red in particular. In order to ensure long-term viability, therefore, Izzet would need to find a way to also win fair games. Ideally in a way that plays to the color pair's spell-based strengths. Enter Delver of Secrets. This unassuming 1/1 from 2011's Innistrad launched an entire design space of spell-based threats. Delver could be run out on turn 1 when you had little else going on. Then, in a spell-dense deck, it would eventually flip into a 3-power flyer that could be ridden to victory while you kept yourself alive through interaction and card draw, as Izzet has always done so well. Delver made an immediate impact on the game in multiple formats. It has remained the spiritual backbone of Izzet tempo strategies across formats and eras, even when the card Delver of Secrets itself has been power crept out of the game. As other threats in blue and red have entered Magic, the Delver shell has incorporated them seamlessly, often to format-breaking results. In 2013, Young Pyromancer was the next significant creature provided to the Izzet color pair. Like Delver before it, Young Peasy was a cheap threat that could be relied upon to win the game eventually on its own, while requiring Izzet to change nothing about its long-standing game plan. Though he'd rarely attack himself, the stream of elementals an unanswered Pyromancer created would eventually run away with the game. As a result, Delver and Young Pyromancer quickly became the base creature package for Izzet decks in both Modern and Legacy. A year later, Magic designers struck gold in the Izzet creature design space with the Prowess mechanic. Prowess, first introduced as the keyword for the white-blue-red wedge of Jeskai in Khans of Tarkir, perfectly encapsulated what creatures in a spell's first deck should look like. Cheap creatures with modest stats could grow to absurd heights when paired with a flurry of non-creature spells. Prowess is a more aggressive take on the spells matter creature. Because the creatures require you to cast spells proactively to make them threatening, they don't pair well with counter magic or instant speed card draw. Burn spells, cantrips, and hyper-efficient card draw are necessary to keep cards flowing and pressure your opponent before they can stabilize. Bounce spells perfectly cover the weakness of red removal here, as opponents die before they can redeploy their larger bounced threats. Between Delver, Young Pyromancer, and the Prowess mechanic, Fair Izzet has found its missing piece. Cheap, unobtrusive threats capable of closing out games in tandem with interactive spells and card advantage. Though there have been many other iterations in this design space, this core formula remains the same. Efficient threats backed up by spells that complement each other. You can draw a line from Frenetic Ifrit to Murktide Regent, from Delver of Secrets to Dragon's Rage Channeler, and from Young Pyromancer to Cori Steel Cutter. Even the dreaded Vivi Orniteer was an evolution of the popular Prowess mechanic. So is Izzet actually broken? Well, not exactly. Despite their thematic animosity, Blue and Red have secretly been the strongest unintended friends since the very beginning. With blisteringly fast removal from Red, and plenty of access to card draw and counterspells from Blue, the heart of the Izzet pair will always be powerful, complementary spells that are waiting around for a win condition worthy of their talents. Such a win condition isn't always readily available, though. Standard, for instance, has gone through long periods where the Izzet color pair is nothing more than a whisper. The problem is, the baseline strength of the color pair means Izzet decks are far less forgiving of design mistakes. Blue and Red decks are more capable of taking a broken new card and committing obscene crimes with it, more so than most other color pairs. There are currently 10 cards banned in Standard right now. 7 of those 10 cards are blue, red, or both. Many of these cards were banned because of an Izzet deck specifically. Izzet is not a fundamentally broken color pair, it's just a fundamentally strong one with one glaring weakness that must be addressed carefully to keep the metagame balanced. One knob on a blue or red card turns slightly too far in the wrong direction, and a whole format may go up in flames. Looking at the primary blue and red decks in Standard right now, we've got 3 very different archetypes. Izzet Prowess, Izzet Spelementals, and Izzet Lessons. Each of these decks occupy a different space in the metagame. Izzet Prowess is an aggressive deck, Izzet Spelementals is more of a mid-range deck, and Izzet Lessons is a control deck. And crucially, while each of these decks have had a few dominant weekends over the past few months, none of them have proven to be broken. Just looking at Pro Tour Secrets of Strixhaven, despite how powerful all 3 Izzet decks were, none of them put up impressive win rates. Izzet Spelementals posted a win rate of 50.8%, while Izzet Prowess and Izzet Lessons posted win rates of 49.4% and 48.5% respectively. All 3 decks are very good, and there are weekends in the Standard meta where they are excellent choices. But for all that many Magic the Gathering players might dislike playing against them, it isn't accurate to call any of them broken. The same is true for Izzet Affinity in Modern or Izzet Delver in Legacy. These decks are among the best in their respective formats, and many have great weekends now and then, but in the long run, they don't win more than their fair share of games. In Legacy, the new card Flow State from Secrets of Strixhaven does run the risk of being another expressive iteration, which could warrant a ban down the road. But as of right now, Izzet, in all its forms, seems to be in a safe place. The Izzet color pair is certainly a dangerous design space. There's just no getting around this fact without fundamentally altering the core tenets of Magic, core tenets that this great game would be unrecognizable without. But while the floor of the color pair is high, it still needs help to achieve playability in a given meta. After an admittedly volatile 9 months of Izzet receiving too much help in Standard, pushing it into unhealthy territory, we've now reached a reliably stable equilibrium for the archetype. Across formats, the color pair has all the tools it needs to be competitive without being meta-breaking. So no, Izzet isn't broken. It is complete, but it is certainly one of, if not the most powerful color pair in all of Magic the Gathering. If you'd like to hear more about the enemy color pairs of Magic, we recently did a video about Black and White, both its history and how Silverquill changed the name of the game as far as that color pair was concerned. You can also check out our video on banding. Yeah, we did an entire video about banding, and both those videos are listed in this video's description.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
I've got a very special deck. This was a plot. A scheme, rather.
Our lead director came up to me before shooting and just said, Prof, just go with it when you see it. Don't start frowning, just go with it, please. They've been trying to troll me with this shit for a month now. They've been going on and on about it, and I don't know what this deck is.
Llanowar Elves.
Oh.
The classic.
6th edition. Your turn.
Oh, sixth
edition.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna flash in Gandalf. This is a card art.
Fuck that card. That was the one in the secret layer where it was like 42 cents worth of cards.
So I got loot.
Oh, you got loot too.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, loot times 2 is 6.
I think I'm starting to hate what you hate.
Yeah.
All of this looks crazy.
You must have just subscribed to Tolarian Community College. I am literally going to shuffle up and
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm at 5 time counters, just
Be careful.
so you know.
Prof doesn't misplay.
That's right.
Prof does bad plays.
That's like the underside of a female pig.
I'm not even mad. This episode is probably never going to air. I don't even care. How much Magic 30 did you buy?
I don't want to talk about it.
Do I look like I care? I'll just pick a fucking card.
Shut up! Let me ask you this, idiot!
How much better does Soul Ring make, Batman?
This is the kind of... You can do it.
Land the shot.
Smash it. Oh! Oh my god!
It's the most fucked up card I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea how it works.
I think I'm losing my mind.
When
Jordan's
Captain
on.
America throws his mighty
I was gonna say
shield.
that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I passed.
Cut that out. Go ahead.
I passed.
No, cut it out. We can
I don't
edit it
care
out.
anymore.
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Do it.
It's your turn, 6 boy.
I thought... Oh!